What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today is my not mock draft. Now, I'm going to do some house cleaning because I know how you guys are, but I want to just make sure that I make this very clear. This is a not mock draft. Now, what I do is I slot guys based on my SSN metric. That's scheme, skill, and need metric. So for that, what I do is I actually place guys with teams where the scheme fits them, their skill fits them, and the need is also needed. The need is also there for that particular team. Understand, I'm not trying to predict where players are going to go. What I'm telling you is that these particular players fit the schemes and the systems that these particular teams run, especially when it comes to coaching, whatever the coaching is, or whatever benefits the team and benefits the player. So for that, I'm going to start off with number one. I know for a fact that when it comes to Jacksonville, you guys just recently signed, y'all brought in Mike Caldwell as your defensive coordinator. And because of that, Mike Caldwell is used to an attacking style of defense. And because he's used to that, you guys have ends already. I know that I've been seeing the mock drafts and everything, and they got you guys taking an end. But in reality, what you guys really need is a defensive tackle. And for me, the best player that fits SSN, scheme, skill, need, is Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is the perfect fit for what Jacksonville is going to be doing defensively. Because when you think about Vita Vea and Dominic and Sue, what you have to understand is that Jacksonville needs a defensive tackle that can collapse the center of the pocket. And Jordan Davis is that guy. Now, again, y'all just brought on Arden Key. And y'all have to remember, Josh Allen was very good, along with, I think his name is Smoot, Dwayne Smoot or something like that. Those two guys are actually really good. But if you put a bull in the middle of that defense, trust and believe, this will be a special defense. And I know that, again, most people wouldn't take defensive tackles, but I'm just saying, according to the SSN, Jordan Davis is the perfect fit for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next is the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions, they need a lot of help all over the place. But for me, I feel that when it comes down to it, Ahmad Gardner is the best fit in Detroit. He's the best fit in Detroit because there are several key things that is happening in Detroit. One, Jeff Okudah's development hasn't been where it needs to be. But a lot of that is probably because he hasn't been pushed or hasn't had somebody to have him to show him how to play. But for that, I will say this. The reason Ahmad Gardner is so good is because, one, he's very respected in the passing game because he does shut down us part of the field. Not only that, he will be taught by what was one of the best cornerbacks in the league when he was playing, which is Aaron Glenn. So for that, Ahmad Gardner is the best fit. Not only that, let's just say Jeff Okudah doesn't pan out. At least you got Ahmad Gardner there. So for that, I do feel that Ahmad Gardner will push Jeff Okudah to be better. But with that being said, Ahmad Gardner is the best fit for the Detroit Lions. Next is the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans need players all over the place. But there are players in this draft that they can wait for. But to be quite honest, there's one thing that they can't, and that is cornerback. Lovie Smith was known for having cornerbacks, should it be in his time in Tampa Bay, because I think he had Aqib Talib in Tampa Bay, and in his time in Chicago where he had Charles Tillman. So for that, I think that without a shadow of a doubt, especially with the type of defense that Lovie Smith likes to run, Derek Stingley Jr. would be the best fit for the Texans. Not only that, they will be able immediately. Lovie Smith would be able to sit up there and actually put him in that rotation of actually being on the island by himself and not have to worry about anything. So for that, Derek Stingley Jr. is the best fit for the Texans. Next is the New York Jets. Now, the New York Jets need a lot of stuff. And one is offensive line help, especially at that right tackle position. Once you've lost Morgan Moses, that was pretty much it. They need to replace Morgan Moses. And for that, for me, Evan Neal, the offensive tackle from Alabama, is the fit. He is the guy. He's aggressive in the run game. He's very stout in the passing game. And again, when you match him beside Mekhi Becton, you're talking about you can have the very formidable tackle tandem in the league for a very long time. For me, Evan Neal is the best fit for the New York Jets. Next is the New York Giants. They need a lot of stuff. I think that this is going to be their final year of trying to make it work for Saquon Barkley. They also need to find a way to take the ball out of Daniel Jones's hand as often so he can kind of just have like a play action style, or where it's almost like how Carson Wentz had it in Indianapolis. So for that, I think that the best fit for the New York Giants is Ikwanu. That's the offensive guard. That's the offensive tackle out of North Carolina State. He's a run first blocker, so you can actually run a lot behind him, and he's actually agile enough to get out and lead running plays. So for that, I feel that when it comes down to it, and the offense that I think that they're going to run in New York initially starting off, I think that Ikem Ekwonu is the guy that the New York Giants should go with. Next is the Carolina Panthers. They want quarterbacks. They need quarterbacks. They don't know what to do. But to be quite honest, when it comes down to it, they've had multiple quarterbacks and it just hasn't worked that well. And a lot of that has to do with because of the fact that they don't have a line that holds up as well. And for that, the perfect fit for the Carolina Panthers is in fact Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle. I think he is the best fit for them because they have to find a way to protect whatever quarterback is going to be there. And to be absolutely honest, this might not be the draft for them to actually go after a quarterback. They need somebody who can just basically help them along until next year comes about. And with that, I have to admit, Trevor Penning is probably the better guy because he fits that Matt Rule scheme. He fits it very perfectly. Not only that, he's a very good on the run, which means that you help Christian McCaffrey actually not have to feel like he's doing so much and not have the blocking available for him. So for that, Trevor Penning is the best fit. Next is the Chicago Bears. Again, just to let y'all know, when it comes to certain positions and picks, I actually placed the team that would have been there, especially when another team already has a second pick. So the second picks will actually be picks of teams that would be there if they didn't trade their picks away. So for that, next in line is the Chicago Bears. They pick early in the second round. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm a staunch believer in the factor of when you draft a quarterback, you draft him one of his weapons that he's accustomed to. And because I'm pretty sure they want to speed up Justin Fields' development, the best thing to do is take a weapon or something that he's used to and comfortable with. So for that, Jeremy Ruckert, the tight end out of Ohio State, is the best fit for the Chicago Bears. I know y'all guys need help in other areas and things like that, but again, we're talking about the possibility of speeding up Justin Fields' development. What better way to do it than to have him basically throwing to a guy or bringing in a guy that he's comfortable with and that he will feel good about throwing to. So for that, Jeremy Rucker is the guy. Next is the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons need a wide receiver to complement Cordell Patterson, and at the same time not make Marcus Mariota seem so inept as a quarterback. And for that, the wide receiver that is the best fit for the Atlanta Falcons is Treylon Burks. He's a guy that can come in and basically, that offense is for high volume guys. So again, you're talking about, you got Cordell Patterson on one side and you'll have Treylon Burks on the other side. Both of them are aggressive wide receivers. They both deal with getting the ball and getting yardage after getting the ball, and you can actually depend on them to take over games. Not only that, you can switch it up. So it could be a situation where you can have Treylon Burks in the backfield and Cordell Patterson out split wide and things like that. So again, to me, Treylon Burks for this particular offense in Atlanta is the best fit. Next is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, for them, they've now had an issue of offensive tackle. And I picked an offensive tackle for them, and one that will help them structure the team the way they want it to. And they really want to take the ball out of Drew Lock's hands and run and pound the ball. The best way to do that is by getting a tackle that actually will help them do that. And that guy for me is Charles Cross, the offensive tackle out of Mississippi State. He's stout when it comes to the run game. He does not play. He's ultra aggressive when it comes to the run game, and he's a devastator. I've seen on multiple plays where he will push guys and put them on their back just because of the sake of because he knows that the team is running the ball. And for that, I honestly feel that when it comes to Seattle, this is the guy that they should take, because again, he helps them be able to develop that offense into that running style. And like I said, Chris Carson, he will be the guy that will be a big impact in this offense, and they will take away having the put Drew Lock in a situation where he's throwing too much. So again, Charles Cross for the Seattle Seahawks. Next is the Denver Broncos. They picked later in the second round, so I had to pair up a guy that would be there possibly in that second round. So for that, the guy I put there is Trent McDuffie. They lost. They didn't sign Kyle Fuller back. You got Patrick Surtain there, and you also got Ronald Darby there. This guy can play inside and outside. So if at any point Ronald Darby or Patrick Surtain go out, this guy can transition to the outside very smoothly. He is by far one of the best cornerbacks in this draft. Now, again, he does fit their scheme, which is very beneficial to the Denver Broncos. Not a lot of guys fit that Denver Broncos scheme, but this particular guy does. He can play man, he can play man, he can play zone. He can also, like I said, he can slide to the inside and slide to the outside. So for that, Trent McDuffie is the best fit for the Denver Broncos. Next is the Washington Commanders, my team, the Commanders. And a lot of y'all may say, here we go. But again, we're talking about perfect fits based on the scheme. I told y'all when it came to Washington scheme, they run an outdated scheme, which is the Tony Dungy Minnesota scheme prior to him creating the Tampa 2. And the best guy for that particular team, for that particular scheme, is in fact Kyle Hamilton. Not for a Buffalo nickel position, but to actually be a roaming safety in that defense. Because again, when Tony Dungy ran it, and when he started to create the Tampa 2, he did a double free safety type of thing. That will also work in our scheme and our system. So for us, Kyle Hamilton along with Cam Curl will be the perfect fits for that Roman safety, the Roman safety ability that both of them will have, that will make a huge impact in Washington. And again, Kyle Hamilton is the perfect fit for that Commander scheme. Next is the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of y'all may not like what I say about this, but because the fact that you guys hired Kevin O'Connell as your head coach, which means he's bringing along with him that Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay system, you guys are gonna need a guy who can actually come in and play immediately. Now, a lot of y'all may not like this, but I know y'all got Garrett. I think it's Garrett Bradbury is y'all center, but for me, Tyler Linderbaum is the best center for this scheme that will be brand new to the Minnesota Vikings. Not only that, he will make Kirk Cousins feel very comfortable with the way he calls out the schemes and everything in regards to setting up the lines and making sure people are getting on their blocks and all that. And like I said again, with the scheme that Kevin O'Connell is bringing, you need a very top level center to be able to run that scheme. And for me, Tyler Linderbaum is that guy. Next is the Cleveland Browns, and Cleveland has been trying their best to find a complement to Myles Garrett for a very long time. Somebody who can get up the field, push the pocket, show some strength and all that. Basically, close to almost being a Myles Garrett clone. For me, I think that I found that guy, and that guy is Cameron Thomas, the defensive end, the edge guy out of San Diego State. He has a relentless motor, and he gets up the field very quickly, and he's very strong at the point of attack. I do feel that at the end of the day, if Cleveland really wants to really make an impact in regards to their ends being devastating, this guy, Cameron Thomas, is exactly the fit that they need. A guy who will get to the quarterback just like Myles Garrett and show some strength when it comes to the run game and show some tenacity when it comes to staying with the plays. So for that, again, Cameron Thomas is that guy. Next is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, they're the kings of defense. They know how to draft defense. For me, this particular guy fits that mold of a Baltimore Raven. And that guy is Perion Winfield, the defensive tackle from Oklahoma. Everything about this guy says Baltimore Raven. He's a guy that can play all along the line, can play practically anything along the line, and is basically a devastating penetrator when it comes to getting up the field in different schemes and everything. Now, I know that as time goes on, he will be dedicated to one scheme, but I feel that Baltimore's scheme will get the best out of him. Not only that, it will basically showcase how good of a defensive tackle he actually is. And like I said, his penetration ability is insane. And like I said, he just fits every single mold of a Baltimore Raven. Hard-working, tenacious, and is always trying to make the play. So for that, Perion Winfield is the guy for the Ravens. Next is the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia, I remember last year, I said that Patrick Queen should have been taken by the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a Roman linebacker that could make plays and help when it comes to the passing game, especially when it comes to teams passing against the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't take him, but they can actually take another guy that would help with that as well. So for that, the guy that I feel is the perfect fit for the Philadelphia Eagles is Nakobe Dean. He destroys passing lanes. He makes people really pissed off when it comes to the passing lanes, and he does not miss tackles. He's a sideline-to-sideline guy, and he makes plays like I've never seen a linebacker make this many plays on the ball, and he does a fantastic job with it. I know a lot of people probably be upset with his height, but this guy, he's always in the way when it comes to people passing the ball, and he does a very good job with keeping up with tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. So for that, Nakobe Dean is the best fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. Next is the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints, after losing Armstead, they need a offensive tackle. They need somebody that can be flexible and actually help a lot. And for me, the guy that I picked for them is Bernhard Rahman, the offensive tackle out of Central Michigan. This guy, he's one of those converted tight end guys. So, of course, we know the history of tight ends that have converted to tackles, and all of them have been successful. When you think about Jason Peters, Laramie Tunsil, a lot of these guys, they've turned out to be fantastic tackles. And this falls right in line with this. Not only that, he's very agile. He gets into his stance very quickly. He would help Jameis Winston in the passing game, and he'll also help Alvin Kamara in the running game. So for that, and he'll also help the running quarterback. I can't think of his name right now, but he'll also help with that because he's such an agile guy. And with that, I just feel that Bernhard Rahman is the perfect fit for the New Orleans Saints. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers only needs one thing: a linebacker that can come in and make all the tackles in the world. They need somebody that basically, once people get past that front seven, the guy cleans it completely up. There is no better fit than the guy who led college football last year in tackles. And that guy is Chad Muma out of Wyoming. This guy doesn't miss. He doesn't miss a tackle. He does a very great job in recovering when it comes to tight ends getting past him and everything like that. He recovers very well. And like I said again, he does not miss tackles. He makes all the tackles. And that is all the Chargers need. They only need a guy who can stand in there and make all the tackles. Now, some people think he'll be an outside linebacker. I don't think that. I think he can play this middle and actually take over. Not only that, he will help the other linebacker from Oklahoma. I can't even think of his name, but Kenneth Murray. He will help Kenneth Murray become a better backer as well. So for that, trust and believe, Chad Muma is the pick for the Los Angeles Chargers. Next is the Miami Dolphins. The guy that I chose for them is Nicholas Petit-Ferre. I think that's how you say his name. Out of the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Now, the reason why I picked this guy is because this guy reminds me a lot of Trent Williams. And because Mike McDaniel is bringing that Shanahan scheme to Miami, this guy would be the perfect fit for that. Not only that, he's a guy that's so scheme diverse that you could never tell if the team is going to run or pass the ball. And because of that, this guy fits this scheme so well that it's almost crazy to not see Trent Williams in him. So for that, Nicholas Petit-Ferre is the guy for the Miami Dolphins. The next team in line is the Indianapolis Colts. They pick in the second round. They pick kind of in the middle of the second round, but they need a compliment to Michael Pittman. It's no getting around that. Michael Pittman is like the only wide receiver that is doing any type of thing in Indianapolis. And for that, the guy that I went with to pair up with Michael Pittman is George Pickens. George Pickens would be the perfect complement not only to Michael Pittman, but also to Jonathan Taylor. He will block in the run game. He does not, he makes maximum effort. He'll stick to the blocks and everything like that. Again, what better thing than you need than a wide receiver that blocks in the run game as well, and at the same time can be a threat when it comes to the passing game also. So you're talking about a guy who can actually fit this scheme very well and give Matt Ryan another target to really contend with. So for that, George Pickens would be the best fit for the Indianapolis Colts. Next is the Pittsburgh Steelers. This particular guy that I got for the Pittsburgh Steelers is based on where I think they're taking the offense with the passing of Dwayne Haskins and with Mason Rudolph and everything like that. I think, and with them signing Mitchell Trubisky, I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to a run first or a running quarterback type of scheme. And I think that when it comes to this, Malik Willis would be their pick. Because I do feel that that's the scheme that they're going to be running, this quarterback-centric running scheme that will basically be like probably 2 reads and then throw the ball. Again, Chase Claypool and all them are very fantastic when it comes to catching the balls and everything. But I feel that when it comes to where Pittsburgh is going, I do feel that Malik Willis is going to be the best fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if they do that offense that I think they're going to run. So that is my choice for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next is the New England Patriots. They need cornerback help. It's no getting around it. J.C. Jackson gone, but this particular guy that I got with them is kind of like a New England Patriots type of cornerback, a guy who most people weren't really thinking about, didn't really pay attention to, may not really think that he can play that well. But for me, Meteric Brown out of Arkansas meets every criteria when it comes to the New England Patriots and the style of play that they run. He's a man press guy. He can actually really make it a point of taking away the wide receiver in the game, and he has incredible recovery speed. He is the guy that replaced Cam Curl when Cam Curl transitioned to the safety position, and when it comes down to it, he is a guy that I honestly feel meets that Patriots way. Like it's something about the Patriots that they love these inconspicuous cornerbacks that nobody's really paying attention to, and boom, next thing you know, the guy's like a Pro Bowler. And for me, Meteric Brown is that guy. Next is the Green Bay Packers. And Green Bay needs wide receivers. They have nobody at wide receiver. Maybe they expect Aaron Rodgers to throw it to himself. Maybe Aaron Rodgers expect to throw it to himself. But again, they need receivers. And for me, they need a guy who can come in and make plays instantaneously. Like, it can't be a thing where the guy can't play immediately. And for that, Garrett Wilson is that guy. Again, you're talking about a guy who can take high volume. He can actually take on the high volume of passing that was basically won't be there with Devontae Adams moving on. He will be able to take that place and actually take on that volume when it comes to the passing game. So everything about him meets the criteria of Green Bay. He's fast. He's a very good route runner. He makes plays. He's a dynamic playmaker. And at the end of the day, runs after the catch. It's a wrap. So for that, Garrett Wilson would be the best pick, best fit for the Green Bay Packers. Next is the Arizona Cardinals. Losing Chandler Jones and, some years ago when they lost Calais Campbell and all that, they need a guy that can actually make plays and be devastating and basically be consistent enough to help those young linebackers and Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. And that guy for me is Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson would immediately be an impact in this defense. Not only that, he would absolutely help because the defensive scheme that they run, they let the ends get up the field. Not only that, he can play a little inside as well. And I do feel that Aiden Hutchinson best fits the Cardinals defense because, again, he gets up the field, and then with the assistance of Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins, I can see this defense really making a huge impact, especially with Bubba Baker and all them. Like I said, again, he would be the best fit for the Arizona Cardinals. Next is the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have lost a lot. They lost a lot of players, especially on the offensive line and that defensive line. But when it comes to fit, the guy that I feel best fits the Dallas Cowboys is Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge rusher out of Oregon. He's not as big as Randy Gregory, but he's just as fast. And to be quite honest, you put Micah Parsons and him on edges, they may be probably the two most devastating pairing that you can even see. Both of them are very fast. Kayvon Thibodeau bends the corner very quickly. So again, he's a guy that can actually be a very devastating guy when it comes to that Dallas defense. They get up the field and they let their ends and they let their playmakers get up the field. And Kayvon Thibodeau, he would definitely 100% contribute to that Dallas defense and make them one of the fastest defenses in the league. So that is the guy that I feel is the best fit for the Dallas Cowboys. Next is the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo needs to replace Levi Wallace. And the best guy to replace Levi Wallace in this particular scheme is Cam Taylor-Britt. The reason I like this guy is because he plays man and zone, which is basically what Buffalo runs. They run a man-zone combination, and he can actually step in and do that. Not only that, with the focus being geared away, probably away from Tre'Davion White, you talking about Cam Taylor-Britt can actually sit up there and take advantage of that. And actually, he does a very good job in pass breakup. He's very good at recovering when he's gotten beat. And at the same time, he actually makes these ridiculous, almost out of nowhere type of plays when it comes to knocking the ball down or getting interceptions. So for me, Cam Taylor-Britt is the perfect fit for the Buffalo Bills. Next, the Tennessee Titans, they need a linebacker that can come in and play right now. And they need a guy that they don't need to do every single thing, or, they just need a guy who can come in, make tackles, make plays, and crash the line more than anything else. Or just, they need a guy who can come in and stop the running backs out the backfield and everything like that. That guy to me is Devin Lloyd. Mike Vrabel doesn't ask a lot of his linebackers in that particular scheme, and which is good for a guy like Devin Lloyd because it takes him away from the responsibility of having to cover as much. So with that, I think that with him having this more focused scheme to be in, he will be a fantastic player in that scheme. And for that, Devin Lloyd is the best fit for the Tennessee Titans. Next is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to replace Jordan Whitehead. There's no getting around that, no way of blocking it out, whatever. The best guy to fit that is Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State, the safety out of Penn State. Again, he's a guy that can play both safety positions, which is very excellent for a Tampa Bay-led team because they would need that in that particular role, especially with Antoine Whitfield Jr. able to do a lot of the work, but still Jordan Whitehead did a lot in regards to that particular defense, and Jaquan Brisker can actually be a plug-and-play guy and replace Jordan Whitehead immediately. So for that, Jaquan Brisker is the guy that I got for the New England Patriots. Next is the Oakland Raiders. They don't pick until the third round, kind of later in the third round. So for them, you know what they need. These guys need offensive line. They need offensive line. They need nasty offensive line. And that's what I got for them. So the best fit for the Oakland Raiders is Jamari Saylor, the offensive tackle out of Georgia. Again, they need a guy who's nasty when it comes to the offensive line, and this guy fills that role. He is a mean blocker. Now, I will say this. He will need some work here and there, but his tenacity will be something that will definitely 100% be something that would be quite desired in Las Vegas. So for that, I feel that Jamari Sailor, I think it's Sailor, should be the Raiders. It would be the best fit for the Oakland Raiders. For the Las Vegas Raiders. Next is the Kansas City Chiefs. We all know what they need. They need a wide receiver that can come in, be devastating, be dynamic, do all the things that Tyreek Hill did, and at the same time, always make plays. That guy's Jameson Williams. They will have to wait a year, possibly, for him to recover from this ACL injury. But when he does recover, you're talking about a guy that can instantly replace Tyreek Hill. Now, he's not going to be the end-all, be-all, but he will be a guy that will be very, very influential when it comes to being able to replace Tyreek Hill and at the same time be able to keep this Chiefs offense on pace and still at its highest level. So for that, Jameson Williams is the best fit for the Kansas City Chiefs. Next is the San Francisco 49ers. I think they don't pick until the second round. I think late second round. And for that, they need a running back. They need a running back who is going to take the load off of Trey Lance. And at the same time, depending on what wide receiver, if Deebo Samuel stays, if he doesn't stay, they need to just take all that away from that being the wide receiver's responsibility. And for that, Breece Hall is the best fit for this. He runs in a zone scheme. And I feel that the Kyle Shanahan scheme, or that Shanahan scheme, best fits Breece Hall. And I feel that when it comes to the running game, they need a guy like this. They need a guy that when he, again, just like Most Certain All them, he will hit the hole and he goes. He hits the edges and he goes. So it won't be a lot of having to figure out which holes he hitting and things like that. He will be the perfect fit for the Shanahan scheme. And for that, Breece Hall is the perfect fit for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, for the Cincinnati Bengals, they lost C.J. Uzomah, and they need a guy that can replace him. And for me, that guy's Trey McBride. They can use him in every which way possible. This guy took over for Colorado State when it came to the offense. They utilized him in so many different ways. And because of that, he would be the perfect fit for Cincinnati because he would make an immediate impact, and again, he feels a need that they're going to need because I think Drew Sample's never panned out for him. So for that, like I said again, I think that Trey McBride and basically the way that they will be able to utilize him as much as they could, he's the best fit for Cincinnati. Last but not least is the Los Angeles Rams, and again, Super Bowl champions. They lost a lot of key things that could help them as well. They need an edge. They need an edge to replace Von Miller's production. And there's actually a Von Miller type of guy that's actually in this draft. And that guy is Josh Pascal out of Kentucky. You can actually use him to basically mimic the Von Miller style and actually have him as a better pass rusher to the quarterback. And for that, like I said again, you're talking about a guy who actually can get up the field, gets to the quarterback as quickly as possible, and is a very devastating guy. So again, for me, Josh Pascal out of Kentucky is in fact the best fit for the Los Angeles Rams. And for that is the not mock draft. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me if some of these guys actually do fit your team schemes. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.